It's here, the WWE Royal Rumble 2021 review. Hi, welcome to SCW here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. What a great show this was. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. I think this is going to be one of the strongest Royal Rumble pay-per-views in history. When you put everything together from not just one, two Royal Rumble matches and the collective card as well together. Overall, I thought that this was a very strong show, and I'm going to give my review and reaction through everything now. I'm going to start, of course, with the kickoff. We had, of course, the Women's Tag Team Championships move to the kickoff, of course, and we had a late addition to the main card, which we'll come to very shortly. So, the match on the kickoff was Asuka and Charlotte Flair defending the Women's Tag Team Championships against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Before the match, Asuka and Charlotte had an interview backstage, saying they were best friends, but they've not really helped each other out very much recently, so it seemed a bit bizarre. But I feel that this was the seed planted that someone is turning on the other one, and it kind of felt that maybe Charlotte might turn on Asuka, or Charlotte's not quite right with Asuka. Not so sure there, but perhaps something that's going to be further deep-seated further down the line, because at the moment Charlotte seems to be in quite a number of storylines as it is. Thankfully, this one with a tag team match seems to have been wrapped up, and now more focus will go on what will be her future immediate direction, which will be Lacey Evans. So let's break into the match then, shall we? I think the match was okay on the kickoff, the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Nothing too spectacle. Was right for the kickoff, in my opinion. The music of Ric Flair was the distraction, as it looked like Charlotte was going to pick up the victory for the babyface tag team. Lacey Evans came out and, of course, made attack while the referee wasn't looking. We saw like brass knuckles on a third attempt here, actually put onto Charlotte Flair to break up the figure 8, and then we see Nia Jax hit a leg drop to pick up the victory, and we've got new women's tag team champions. For me, really, as I say, this is so many things in one, it kind of becomes a bit of a mess, but I do think it's the best outcome they could have done with everything that's currently going on. I'm not a fan of double champions, especially in the women's division, with when you have the so few titles that it is. So I'm pleased that Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have won the belts back for the time being. Charlotte can focus on Lacey Evans now going forward. Maybe Asuka is a longer term direction. Maybe those two will face off at WrestleMania. We'll have to wait and see. Because of course, I mean, Asuka would have all the motivation in the world to try and get a victory over Charlotte at WrestleMania. That would make a lot of sense if they were to do that match. But yeah, all in all, it was what it was, but I think it was the best way it could have been booked. And I was quite pleased with it, even though I thought that Asuka and Charlotte Flair would retain. For me, I'm happy with this decision. So yeah, I think this was done pretty well. Going on to the main show then, we kick things off with Goldberg going for the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre, of course. The streak, will it continue from Goldberg? Everyone's worst fears would come to reality if Goldberg was to defeat another champion, win the championship belt, and derail so much momentum that has gone into a superstar long term. Thankfully, this wasn't the case. WWE did the booking strategy here to perfection, and this is why I was a fan of the idea if you were going to do this match with the right outcome, because Goldberg here, actually has been used pretty well. He's been used as a legend who's endorsed Drew McIntyre. They had a great couple of minutes before the match even started, where there was a spear through the barricade, and then we went into where we had about a 3-minute match between the two. Spear, jackhammer. Drew McIntyre managed to kick out from this as well, which of course, heart was in mouth at this point. Goldberg did kick out of a Claymore as well, which made you think you have no idea where this is going, but thankfully one more Claymore was hit and Drew McIntyre did pick up the victory, and Goldberg did show a sign of respect. You have my respect now. This is how you use Goldberg. Literally, if you want to use him, this is how you do it. Yes, as fans we had the fear factor, but in a Royal Rumble pay-per-view that was a 3-hour 45-minute show, this was a few minutes. I mean, if you'd have had a 20-minute match, you're talking over 4 hours. It would be too long of a show. It was the right place to do this, to put over Drew McIntyre even more, and your legend has been used correctly rather than burying a talent like we've seen in the past with Kevin Owens and with The Fiend Bray Wyatt. So for me, job well done here from WWE. I wouldn't turn around and say this was a 5-star classic by any means of the imagination, but it was booked simply and effective, and I think that was the right way to go about this. Next was a last-minute addition to the card, the SmackDown Women's Championship, Sasha Banks against Carmella. These two, I do feel, have good chemistry in the ring, but this match wasn't as strong as their last pay-per-view encounter that had at TLC. Reginald, of course, was in Carmella's corner and getting involved in the match once again. He was sent to the backstage area after a while. There was actually, as well, a scary moment where Carmella overshot a dive to the outside when Reginald had been sent to the back. It seemed that she did go possibly face first, but definitely looked like her shoulder had hit the outside of the ring quite hard. But thankfully, all was okay. I thought the match was okay. We kind of got a submission in the end counter for Carmella to the tap out, but it did seem to come a little bit out of nowhere, if I'm going to be honest. But this was the right move, the right decision here. Sasha Banks, the long-term women's champion of SmackDown. She's had so many title reigns where she's dropped that belt too quickly. She needs to look now that she's going to be the strong champion, the long-term champion for SmackDown going into WrestleMania. And of course, we hope that that match will be against Bianca Belair. But of course, Bianca Belair was in the Royal Rumble, and the Women's Royal Rumble was next. So let's dissect this now. The number one spot was Bayley, which of course I predicted on the predictions video, which I think was the right move. Bayley, fantastic person that can carry the match over. Naomi returned at number 2, which was a nice surprise to get her that early in the match. And 2, that could really work to start off the match. Bianca Belair was at the number 3 spot, so she also was going to take this journeyman role as well. What was really fun is that of the first, I believe it was 13 entrants that come into this Royal Rumble, only one person was eliminated in that, which was Shotzi Blackheart. But I mean, other than that, everyone stayed in the ring, which I think was really good because it showed strength in this division. And as each female came out to the ring, I was sitting there going, it's another really good worker, another really good worker. I had this feeling in my head that we were about to see, and what I do believe was definitely not just the greatest women's Royal Rumble ever, but definitely this Royal Rumble match ended up being in the top 10, perhaps even top 5 of Royal Rumble matches ever. I think this was very well booked. Billie Kay was number 4, and she was sitting at commentary trying to find a tag team partner through this, using her headshot and her resume. Comedic best here. I really enjoyed that. The fact that Shayna Baszler actually punched a headshot, which Billie Kay sold, was quite entertaining, as well as Toni Storm as well, a fellow Aussie, not really getting involved. It was only when we got the surprise entrant of Jillian Hall, the famous sort of Britney Spears knockoff, which I think was hilarious to see her come back. I really enjoyed that. And Billie Kay managed to find a tag team partner to get in there and get involved with the action. Victoria came in as well. It was great to see her as a cameo involved there. Rhea Ripley was number 14 in the Rumble match, and that's when a few people start getting thrown out of the match quite frequently. Rhea Ripley definitely was the one that was getting the most eliminations in this match. Charlotte Flair, number 15, a key number to keep an eye out for as well. It wasn't so long till Lacey Evans came into the match, and of course she came out via Ric Flair's music, wearing, it seemed to be the same robe as what Charlotte Flair was wearing. Continued with the feud they had, but what was a bit bizarre with this, and one of the minor points of this Royal Rumble, was the fact that when you look back at it, they kind of fought for the first minute or two that they were in there, but after that it completely separated. They weren't involved in either one's eliminations. They just continued on as if it was just nothing had happened. Bit strange when you've got a real personal animosity going on with two superstars, that they are kind of willing to just, we'll take on other people instead. It seemed a bit off to me, but that's a minor critique of this. Another minor critique was we had Alicia Fox at number 21. Now, not so much that it's Foxy, great to see her back, but at the same time, we actually had the 24/7 championship malarkey going on in the middle of the Rumble match as well. Alicia Fox did win the championship from R-Truth, which, okay, seems pretty fun. Fox was not long after eliminated, and R-Truth managed to actually roll her up to win the championship back once again, and then he was chased by the usual 24/7 posse to the backstage area, including Alicia Fox as well. Tori Wilson was in the match also. Great to see a cameo from Tori Wilson as well. As we head towards the end of the match, was a fun twist with this. Number 27 was Alexa Bliss, of course, heavy favourite going into this Royal Rumble. It seemed to be that everyone treated her, of course she's 5 feet of fury, almost like what you'd see with a giant going into the Rumble. If it was like a Big Show or a Viscera back in the day, we'd see everyone want to gang up on that sort of big superstar to get him out of the match. Everyone knows these sort of mystical, magical powers that Alexa Bliss has. People just said, no, we're not having that. We're all going to work together to get you out of this match. It seemed that Bliss managed to overcome things a little bit. She was in the transition of turning to her fiendish kind of character, which I was slightly nervous about. I didn't want a cinematic Royal Rumble match, and I was kind of unsure how I was going to feel about that. But before we had the opportunity to get that far, Rhea Ripley threw it out of the Royal Rumble. So Alexa Bliss didn't stay in their match for very long. One thing I found quite interesting from this point onwards, I just felt confident from here Rhea Ripley was not going to win the Rumble match. I had this feeling that I think we've got a feud started here. I feel that we could get Rhea Ripley going against Alexa Bliss somewhere down the line, perhaps even in the very near future. Could be a WrestleMania match. It could even be something before. We've of course got 2 pay-per-views before WrestleMania. I would expect from this Rhea Ripley will be on Monday Night Raw. We get to the final 4 then. Actually, just before we get to the final 4, of course, we had Lana in the match as well. Shayna Baszler was still in there from number 6 spot. Nia Jax was in the match, and it was quite fun to see Nia Jax eliminated Shayna Baszler. So the Women's Tag Team Champions still not getting along, even though they're champions. But Nia Jax went over the top rope via Lana pulling the rope down. So we've got like some continuity from the story a couple of months ago. Lana finally gets that revenge. Maybe we can actually move on from that, because Lana's not been seen on TV now since mid-December. She was meant to be on the TLC match involving with those Women's Tag Team Championships. Maybe she'll be in a different program with that now, but hopefully we can move on from it. Lana has the revenge there. She got out of the Rumble. But so we got to the final 4 anyway of this match, and we had Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Natalya as the final 4. Natalya thrown out of the match, which left us with our final 3. Nice booking from WWE, because when you look at things, Charlotte Flair, obviously not the people's choice. People don't want her to win this match, but at the same time, you look at it and say that, well, she would be doing it for the first time in about 20 years, where you'd see a winner win 2 years in a row would be kind of, you know, a big thing in the Royal Rumble, which we haven't seen for a very long time. Charlotte was taken out of the match, though, via both Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. They wanted to make sure that New Blood won this Rumble match, and they were deservingly your final 2. Just a quick shout, I didn't mention Naomi. She was eliminated from the Royal Rumble match at 47 minutes, which I thought was fantastic. Bayley earlier in the match was eliminated as well by Bianca Belair. So even though that both of them been in the match a long time, they weren't in around the final field. But yeah, as I said, we got to the final 2 here, and Bianca Belair eventually picking up the victory, being in the match for over 56 minutes. Of course, then being for the number 3 spot, literally going almost the entirety of the Royal Rumble match there to go to WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley had eliminated so many people in this match. She eliminated the most. She was in the final 2 as well. So I think, even though I made a video very recent before the Rumble saying that I think Rhea Ripley needed to win more, I do think 2 stars have been built in one match, and I think WWE have done a great job here. So the 2 numbers to remember are number 3, Bianca Belair, of course, your victor, going the whole way through, and number 14, which was Rhea Ripley, who was your runner-up. Bianca Belair, of course, had a great babyface promo afterwards, saying that she did it. She believed in herself, and it's for her mum and dad, her fans. She's going to WrestleMania. She's going to put the EST in WrestleMania. Let's ignore those 3 letters are already in WrestleMania. I think this was a very good babyface promo. It really delivered home here, and a job well done here. It surely must be Bianca Belair against Sasha Banks. Maybe Bayley will get involved in there to make it a triple threat, but certainly I think a lot of people want this singles match of Banks and Belair. Next, we had the last man standing match, the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns against Kevin Owens. That's right, Kevin Owens, who fights for his family, Roman Reigns, who uses his family. I thought it was a great line. I like that from Michael Cole, so I thought I'd use that, nick it, and put it in the video. This was as brutal as I was expecting. I was expecting a vicious last man standing match, and it did not disappoint. It really reminds me of the Rock Mankind feud going in from 1999. I know that was an I Quit match, but this match felt almost as brutal to me. This was all over. It was barely in the ring at all over Tropicana Field. We went up into the top of where all the Thunderdome screams are. Kevin Owens was thrown off of that through tables. We went backstage where there was sort of a ring set up and a table set up. Roman Reigns going sort of hard on this table and a pop-up powerbomb. Kevin Owens then jumping off with a splash. He then actually went off the top of a forklift to do a swanton through Roman Reigns. This was absolutely brutal, and not to mention as well, Roman Reigns actually run Kevin Owens over with a golf buggy also. There was so much brutality in this match. It was really vicious. The only thing I would have said that I would have made this slightly better for me is if the referee wasn't so quick on his counts every single time. I think just to draw things out a little bit, just let something breathe for a minute. minute just before we start getting these counts, and a bit of a slower count would have just affected things. Perhaps WWE were a bit cautious of timing on this show, but I think it would have just emphasised this match just a little bit more. But I would say that this was fantastic, and as we got towards the closing sequence, it looked like that Kevin Owens was going to win the Universal Championship. He handcuffed Roman Reigns. Of course, handcuffs have been very useful in this rivalry between these two, actually towards a part of the sort of Titantron setting, to the point where actually Roman Reigns couldn't get up. The referee was counting to 9, so Roman just grabbed him and threw him into the set, which took him completely out of the match. Another referee came down, but of course a low blow was hit to Kevin Owens, so a count was being done here. Paul Heyman was trying to get Roman Reigns out of the handcuffs with a key, but you could see actually for real he was struggling to do so, and it did kind of put a little bit of a damper on the very end of the match. But let's take that away from it and just look at what a great match this was, and the fact that when Roman Reigns was able to get out of here, Kevin Owens managed to get up, and then he actually was passed out via the guillotine for the 10 count. This was a very good match. This was a very strong match. I think it was even better than their match at Royal Rumble a few years ago, and it was a fantastic match back then as well. So I really want to say that despite the ending wasn't as strong and did take a bit away from the match was brutal, the match was fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I think that definitely when I look back at this show, sometimes we go back to Royal Rumble, so Tom and say, I'll go back and watch that Rumble. This is a match that I'll be sitting going, I need to go back and watch that. Last but not least then was the Men's Royal Rumble match, and again, I'll try my best to give every detail I can possible. I think that this match, personally, just to give an overall before we actually go into details, I think that it was good. I think that obviously the first two competitors was very strong with Edge and Randy Orton. I feel that the first half of the Rumble was okay, but didn't grip me as much at the start. I think it's when we got into the second half of the Royal Rumble that we picked up the pace, and we didn't just pick up the pace, a rocket ship was put there and it went straight to the end, and I think that second half of the Rumble was absolutely superb. For me, looking at them, we had Edge and Orton starting off. I like the fact that they went outside of the ring and use of, not actually playing to the rules. It made the Rumble feel different and unique immediately. But of course, there was a spot there where Randy Orton was done an impaler DDT to him on the table via Edge on the outside area. Randy Orton was taken out of the match very quickly. We had a few people in the ring. Sami Zayn was number 3. I believe number 4 was Mustafa Ali, and Jeff Hardy was number 5. But yeah, I think it was quite heel heavy at the start of the match as well. But we did manage to get a few more into there just to even things out a bit. I like the fact that we had Xavier Woods and Big E come out at number 9 and 10. Carlito was number 8, which was a very nice surprise to see him back. A little bit late for Legends Night, but definitely really enjoyed that. Yeah, I mean, going there just to quickly mention on Xavier Woods and Big E as well. Kofi Kingston did come backstage as well earlier in the evening. Of course, was unable to be a part of the Royal Rumble match himself due to injury, but it was nice to see them sporting Brody Lee ring gear. I thought it was a really nice, tasteful touch there, so I want to give a nice little shout out to that. I thought it was really, really nice to see that. As we went on into the Royal Rumble, we kind of got that mid-card filler in the middle of the show there. We got Ricochet, we got The Miz, John Morrison in there, Elias as well. We did get Damien Priest, was a lot of fun. He coming in from NXT, had a strong performance in this Royal Rumble. The Miz, just to go back on his mention there, destroyed all the setting from Bad Bunny's performance earlier in the evening. The laptops and stuff were still there. This actually provoked Bad Bunny to come out during the Royal Rumble match. Miz and Morrison were distracted, both eliminated by Damien Priest at the same time. Bad Bunny went to the top rope and then did a high cross body from there to the floor. It was kind of like a high cross body / falling, but of course he's not a trained professional wrestler. I thought this looked quite fun. Hopefully, maybe it'll get him a spot, maybe on some sort of, TV thing, give WWE some nice exposure from that. Would be quite fun to see. Definitely was better looking than when Snoop Dogg did it on AEW a few weeks ago. Yeah, as we went further into this Royal Rumble match, we started to get some of the heavy hitters coming to this match. Daniel Bryan was coming in at, I believe, number 17 in this match, so it felt like he was going to be a particular favourite. Lashley, I feel, was around 22, definitely was where business was about to pick up. Riddle had been in this match for a few minutes already, and Riddle went out to go quite near the end of the match as well, which was quite fun to see. As we got to number 23, we had the return of Hurricane Helms. Fun cameo. I've been watching a lot of the Marvel movies recently, so it definitely gave me a nice comedic feel spot here. It certainly felt this was quite well timed from a personal perspective. Of course, Hurricane seemed to have a flashback moment as well. They're trying to chokeslam Big E and Lashley at the same time, almost reminiscent of 2002 with Austin and Triple H, where they kind of went, nah, you're going out, and they just threw him out of the ring, which is quite fun. But then number 24 has to be not just my favourite moment of the match, but probably my favourite moment of the pay-per-view. This for me was one moment of the entire show where I say, yes, of course it's great for the winners if there's fans there, but I really wish there was fans for this moment. Christian made his return at number 24, and oh my god, Captain Charisma, he has not missed a beat, and this guy was not allowed to be in any form of physicality in WWE for years. It's been 7 years. With the amount of concussions this guy has had, he was ruled out, he was not allowed in the ring, so the fact is, he must have been cleared, whether maybe he's seen Daniel Bryan's doctor, maybe he's just felt better, maybe it's something miraculous, maybe he's taken tips from Edge as well, I don't know, something has got Christian where he could get back in a WWE ring, and I tell you what, it was heartfelt, it felt quite a surprise with certain superstars that were in the ring. You could just see the idea in the eyes of certain people would just light up the idea they can have these matches with Christian. Just felt awesome. So for me, I was really happy to see it. We got a nice feel-good moment as well with Edge and Christian having a hug as well. That was pretty fun to see as we continue back into the action. Just a small mention as well was a cameo, by the way. I had not mentioned this earlier in the match, but Kane was in the Royal Rumble actually as well, which was a fun little surprise. I mentioned hugs there. We got Team Hell No. We're given a small little hug there. I think Kane was number 18 if I'm not mistaken. But it was a quick choke slam and a quick elimination for Kane as well. It was thrown out by Damian Priest. But back to the action. AJ Styles at number 25 with Omos was there, and of course Omos was helping Styles all the way there, but actually pulling people out of the match as well. He pulled Big E out of the ring. He pulled Rey Mysterio out as well, but every occasion he did manage to save AJ Styles. Number 27 was Sheamus, which was fun to see. Of course, the Celtic Warrior would be a big heavy favourite at this point. Cesaro number 28. I really was surprised when I saw Cesaro as 28. I thought myself maybe we could see him in the final 4 here. Of course, Shinsuke Nakamura was an early entrant in the Rumble, number 7. Did last quite a while, but was eliminated from the match. I believe he was eliminated by King Corbin at some point in the match, if I'm not mistaken there. Number 29 was the return of the Messiah, Seth Rollins. At this point, I really felt perhaps we've got our winner here. It kind of felt a very big deal. I was made aware actually that it was the same day of the Rumble. The Edge returned back in 2010 and won at number 29 spot as that sort of feeling as well. All them years ago, made me feeling perhaps Seth Rollins was going to win the Rumble. But at number 30, Braun Strowman. So all these big hitters come into the match quite late on. We get down to what I believe is the final 4, but just before we do, there was a great exchange with Daniel Bryan and Riddle, where they're just literally kicking hell out of each other. It was a really fun moment to see, but Riddle was eliminated from the match. And so was Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was eliminated by Seth Rollins from the match when it seemed like the coast was cleared, and I felt that we're perhaps setting up a match between them two at WrestleMania. Definitely, I think will be an epic encounter. We get Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins. Sign me up for that, yes please. AJ Styles was eliminated from the Royal Rumble. I said Omos was protecting him. Well, Braun Strowman actually was going to throw him out there where Omos was, and thought, no, I'll do it the other side instead. So AJ was eliminated from the Royal Rumble. We got down to what was the final 4 then, which was Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, Edge, and Christian was still there. So happy about that Christian was still there. And Seth Rollins was sort of going to Braun. Us 2 against them 2. It's our time now. Let's take the legends out. It's us versus them. I thought that was quite a fun kind of line that was given there, but Braun Strowman was having none of it. Turned immediately on Seth Rollins. There was a great little spot where Edge and Christian were trying to eliminate Braun Strowman from the match. It looked like that it was the classic way that what Chris Benoit did back in the day to eliminate Big Show back in 2004. Edge sort of had the suplex position, holding himself on the ring apron, trying to pull Braun Strowman over. It felt that Christian was helping and assist, really sort of made it feel like it was going to happen. At that same point, Seth Rollins threw Christian out of the ring as well, so both Braun Strowman and Christian were eliminated at the same time. We were at the final 2, or what we thought was the final 2, Seth Rollins and Edge. Edge managing to throw Rollins out of the Rumble, make us think that Edge has won it. Of course, Randy Orton makes his return from the kayfabe injury. No Fiend involvement, as I thought that there would be. I was really strong feeling that was going to happen. Instead, we got an RKO from Randy Orton, and just when you thought Orton was going to pick up the victory at that last second, it was a twist and a turn. Orton thrown over the top rope, and Edge wins the 2021 Royal Rumble from the number 1 position, which means now the number 1 has had more victors once again than the number 30 spot. But I'm going to just say that a lot of people wanted to see a new star take the victory here in the Royal Rumble. I, for one, feel that from this story, this has potential to go into WrestleMania and be perfection, to the point where my investment will be there. I am so happy that Edge not only a year ago was able to return to action. He has been unlucky, perhaps with injuries, you could say, with the injury he got in the greatest wrestling match ever with Randy Orton last year at Backlash. But now he'll have an opportunity to compete for the championship that he never lost, that he had to give up after WrestleMania 27. He gets that WrestleMania moment, that championship match. It feels like it's just written in the stars. And for me, I feel that it's the perfect winner. I as much as I want to see other stars there, particularly as well, Edge, the idea that we could get perhaps Edge versus Drew McIntyre, for me feels like a fantastic match. It could be Edge versus Roman. You can't rule that out either. And it could even be a change of champion. I mean, of course, what's to say that Randy Orton doesn't win the WWE Championship and we have Edge versus Orton at WrestleMania? Certainly could happen. We could even have a triple threat of Drew, Orton, and Edge. It could happen. But what I will say is that the story of Edge is just beautiful, and I like it. And I think to myself that this feels to me like the perfect start on the road to WrestleMania. And when you look at both Rumble matches, you've got one legend there with that great story. You've got then that new star from Bianca Belair as well. So we have done some great booking, in my opinion, from WWE on this show. Just before we give my grade, I will have one sort of slight moan. There was a point in the middle of the show where Pete Rosenberg actually won the 24/7 championship from R-Truth as well after the Women's Royal Rumble. I think they wanted to give us a rest after we had that Royal Rumble match. It was sort of filler for about 10 minutes of air, but for me, that was not great. I really didn't enjoy that, and to be honest, the roll-up was atrocious. If anything, it looked like that Pete Rosenberg could have at least took R-Truth out for dinner first with the way that roll-up was done. It was not very good for the viewing eye at all, but we'll take that out of account. That was the one really bad part of the show. The rest of it overall, as we go into a score here, I thought was very good. As I say, favourite moments. The seeing Christian come back was amazing. I thought the Men's Royal Rumble was fantastic, particularly from the second half onwards. I thought it was really, really strong, and we've got a great story that's got started from it and what's come out of it. The Women's Rumble, amazing. We've got new style. In fact, we've got two probable new stars here. We've got matches potentially that could be starting to be set for WrestleMania. We haven't had that for years where it feels like we're going to get that. So I really like the idea that things have started at the Rumble and can build over a number of weeks and months now. The idea of Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, perhaps Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss, maybe Oscar and Charlotte Flair once again. It feels like we've got direction for WrestleMania, and we've got two names rubber stamped for championship matches, as I say, with Bianca Belair and Edge. Let's not forget that last man standing match, absolutely superb with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, and the undercard was done quite well as well, I would say, on this show. So overall, to give my overall rating out of 10, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5. I was tempted to even go for a 9. I thought it was that good overall, the show. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go that slightly higher. 9 out of 10 this show. I think that overall I thought this was very well done. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, for me, I just think that this has really restored a lot of my sort of belief and faith, because I was a little bit lackluster of the last few weeks of booking in WWE. The last sort of couple of months for me have not been as fun to watch the weekly TV. The pay-per-views have always been solid, but this one was just another level. This was a very strong outing to start off the year from WWE, and I feel we've got loads of new directions now going to WrestleMania, and I think to myself, do you know what? I'm looking forward to it. Let's get on the road. Let's get those seatbelts on. We're on the road to WrestleMania. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. Did you enjoy the Royal Rumble? And of course, what's your rating out of 10? Who should have been the winner? If you don't agree with these winners, let me know in the comments below right now. And what matches do you want to see happen at the grandest stage of them all? But that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment as well. Comments are very important. Likes as well really helps the channel up if you can do that. As well as I say, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications and set them to all as well, so you know when each and every video is released here on SCW. The Q&A is available for you now. If you haven't seen it already, why haven't you? It's there. Go and check it out right now. Ask SCW, answering your questions in the wrestling community. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Royal Rumble. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and have yourselves a great day.